the meeting to order, please. Thank you. We're on?
Yep, we are on.
Okay. Let's see where we go here. As required by the law, the town may audio or video record this meeting. Any person intending to either audio or video record this open session is required to inform the chair. Hearing none, let's move on. Recording public announcements. Pickleball.
Well, I got one first. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to quickly introduce our new program specialist, John Losey, to the recreation team. He's coming over from Chatham Bars Inn. He's going to be a great asset. He's got great ideas, great innovative ideas. He's great on the computer, which is huge. But I'll turn it over to him to let him introduce himself.
Well, yeah, first I want to just thank the Youth
First of all,
Recreation
excuse
Commission.
me, this is not the normal dress, by the way.
Oh, we're on TV, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank the Youth Recreation Commission as well as Eric and the town of Harwich for giving me this opportunity. I'm both blessed, honored, and really excited about all the things I'm looking forward to help bring here to this community. Just a little bit about myself. I am a resident here in Harwich. Living on Depot Road, right behind Buca's first house. Like Eric said, I started in Chatham Bars Inn last January, so I've been here for about a year and a half now. I graduated from the University of Florida. I majored in sports management, and I coach high school football throughout. So that's a little bit of some of my background and some of the things I'm gonna bring here to this town. And whether it's been work, school, or coaching high school football, helping take that program from mediocre to a state contender this past year, I've had success everywhere I've been, and I look forward to bringing that to this community.
Very nice.
Thank you, John.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
We look forward to working with you, and hopefully we have a lot of we like your energy.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Should we go around the board and identify everybody on the board?
Yeah, I think he's done
He'll
that.
get to know us.
Yeah.
He's done that.
Whether you like it or not.
Okay. Tonight we have a presentation by the pickleballers. Tommy,
Hey,
come on up.
Let's
don't you grab a chair,
Let me
Tom?
put a chair in the corner here for you.
right in the corner, right.
Well, you can put it right up here if that works.
Why don't you stick it right there?
Sure. Right here. Is that all right?
Come on over this way.
It's kind of a small table.
Can they see him on TV so they can throw dots at him?
Yeah.
Do you want to pull up just a little bit? Go ahead, just come right to the
Yeah,
table.
there's space there,
There we
yeah.
go.
So good evening, members of the Recreation Commission. Thank you for inviting us to your monthly meeting. Again, I'm Tom Bryant. I'm the chairperson of the Harwich Pickleball Association. There are a few other board members here tonight. This is Franny Boyle. She's our treasurer. She will give you some information a little later on, not too much later, because then we have a game to get to. Lori Berkowitz is the coach, is the vice chairperson, and Steve Setian. We call him Spider-Man because he's the one that goes up and puts the windsock up, but he's also on the board and very handy as well. Again, we're happy to be invited here to meet with you and talk about pickleball in Harwich. I'd first like to express my gratitude to Eric and Elaine and everyone in the Recreation Department for their cooperation, professionalism, availability, and response to our sometimes endless requests. We all realize that communication is a key component of success, and it's been on full display between the Pickleball Association and the Recreation Department. And I'll just briefly use the example of the bathrooms. We had members left and right. We need a bathroom in the winter. We play in the winter. We need a bathroom. We need a bathroom. And as soon as we made the request, we had I don't know why they call it a bounce house, but apparently that's what it is. But there was one delivered, and bicyclists use it, people walking and running, the playground, tennis players. So that's how quickly, and that's just an example of how well things have worked between us. Again, I've introduced Franny and her along with Tricia Gilligan, who's not here. She's also a board member. They work diligently and very hard to make us a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organization. Again, she'll go over some of that with you later. In addition to our financial donations to the various charities, the Harwich Pickleball Association also uses money raised from our annual Fun Fest tournament to provide amenities and improvements to the courts. For example, one of our members designed these barriers that go up between the tennis nets and the actual fence, which prevents balls from going into adjoining courts, prevents injury, and stops interruptions of games from balls going into those courts. We purchased a device which was a little pricey, but it quickly and cleanly removes water from the courts without damaging the courts. It's made specifically for removing water from courts. It's been used in the US Open, the Australian Open. And to my knowledge, we're the only outfit on the Cape that has this machine. It's not gas, it's not powered, it's just human pushed machine. So allows players to play on dry courts well ahead of other towns in our area. A member has created our own website. It's called the harwichpickleball.org. harwichpickleball.com was already used by someone who couldn't figure out who it was, but it's very comprehensive and thorough. And on this website, aside from our news, it provides a link to the rec department, allowing people to see how to register, and actually will take you right to that site, which certainly alleviates some phone calls to the rec department. The maintenance of the courts, we do a lot of the maintenance to the courts. We sweep them, we use leaf blowers, there's always rocks and dirts people bring on. Somehow people do donuts in the parking lot, and some rocks and stuff go on the courts, but we take care of the courts because they're our livelihood, I guess you could say. Last year we bought 2 large umbrellas to provide shade for people who aren't on the courts because it can get pretty hot down there. We bought rugs to put next to the courts for people to wipe their feet off so we don't get debris on the court, which is like the fastest way to compromise the integrity of courts that you spent money to resurface. Last year, after they resurfaced the 4 older courts, we went back and put the posts and the tennis nets up and the pickleball nets after they were resurfaced. Today, we went down and we installed the posts and nets on 3 of the brand new courts. There was an issue with the 4th one, which Eric was quick to respond to me about that. It's being addressed.
What was the issue? What was the issue, Tom?
I'm sorry?
What was the issue?
So there are sleeves planted in the ground that the posts go into. So the posts go into this 2-foot deep PVC pipe. One of them was only 14 inches deep. We need to have 18 inches of pipe in the ground. So
was that the contractor's responsibility?
Yep, they've already been contacted.
And then coming back to
Yep,
repair that?
yep.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
So that, again, another example of how well we're working together. We also provided volunteers to run the youth pickleball clinic that Eric kicked off this year. And we actually had more volunteers than we needed, but we were able to cover it. And a lot of these volunteers have signed up to do this again in the event, which you informed me today, we're gonna start setting up today.
Yep.
So we'll have volunteers to help the kids out, teach them how to play the game, and be out there with them. We also had some members donate money specifically to be set aside, which we would give to the recreation department to sponsor kids to play, to participate in this clinic so that they would be able to play for free. We have volunteers who act as monitors. We're going to issue ID tags to members after they sign up. These monitors put out the balls. We monitor the whiteboard that we put out, and ensure that the courts are being used for the appropriate purpose and that play continues as it should, with people moving on and off the courts in an orderly fashion. We utilize an open play method. I've heard some rumors that some people have called it a league. It's not a league. From 8 to 12, members show up and they can play at whatever level that they want. If they want to grab 3 of their friends and go to the next available court, that's what they can do, or they can mix in and play with a variety of different players. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware it's an open play system. We have a social committee which promotes social interaction by having social events in the park during the year. 60 to 70 people will show up, we'll play pickleball, we'll have something to eat, people will bring something to drink. Sometimes they pay a small fee to pay for the pavilion if we use it, and offset, decorations, tablecloths, paper goods, so forth. All of these investments are consistent with our mission statement, which in part states to provide friendly competition, good sportsmanship, social interaction, and fun for all levels of players in our community. A couple things I'd like to point out are things that we would like to see. Certainly I'm in no position to demand anything, but permanent shade would be a great thing. We have come up with Steve has done some research. He was, you might be able to tell he's been in the sun a little bit. He was in California for a long time. And because he didn't get that tan here in Harwich, I'll tell you that. No. So he's done some research, and for around $800, correct me if I'm wrong, give or take 100 or 2.
No, it'll be a little installed. A framework, just a local fence company, very simple. Framework is probably, I think it was like 600 and something. And actually, I'm just waiting for another quote, the canopy or the top covering, somewhere between maybe $300.
So for around
I'm thinking
1,000.
maybe 1,000, 1,200 at the most, plus some concrete, and it's something that we can install, and I think it'll last quite a while, and it's almost a must down there. It gets pretty hot. And
So we would be looking to have permission to not only put these posts in the ground, they wouldn't be attached to the fence. There's an area between the new courts and the existing courts. We'd like to put these 4 to 6 steel posts in. I think we figured 10 feet high. The material that we use is very similar to a windscreen you'd see on a tennis court. It's porous, but it gives good UV protection. There's grommets every 6 inches, so this thing wouldn't be flying around like a sail. And in addition, Frank had mentioned that we would, I forgot to mention, Frank is also a board member, I'm sure you're familiar.
Hi, Frank.
Yeah, he's here.
He's here.
So,
Go back to bed, Frank.
he had mentioned that there may be a possibility of some reimbursement if we were to invest in putting this shade up, because it would be used by everybody, not just the members.
Whereabouts are you looking to put this shade in?
Between the new courts
Courts.
and the older courts.
Okay.
There's a big
Gap.
dirt area.
Yeah.
And we were thinking like 10 by 15. Not cover the whole thing, but just enough to put a couple picnic tables under and chairs, and people will be out of the
I don't know if
sun.
you want to.
Is that what they do down
Yeah,
in Florida?
here's a picture of it if you want.
Eric,
That's
can
kind of
I
what we're
just-
That's what they do
simulating
down
right
in
there.
Florida.
Oh, wait.
This is actually California is where I was, yeah. I don't know if you want to pass
Yep.
that around, just take a look at
You
it. Or,
guys want it? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine, yeah.
so it's pretty simple kind of thing, and
So that's something we would like to see if possible, and we would be more than willing to do the work. And if we don't, if we're not able to do that, we would probably ask permission if we could put it up, and we may invest some of our own money to do it, because it is a necessity. We'd like to get a new windsock. We had some last year. They were, I don't know if they were from a piñata or something, but they make these nice big ones. They're not real expensive, but we do have the guy that would be more than willing. He's just itching to get up that fence again and put this windsock up. So again, we can get it.
am I really?
Well, it seems like you are.
Mr. Chairman,
I'd say
is
this
this an
aside.
FAA landing zone?
I'd say aside from the importance of the shade would be that dirt area. And I've talked with Eric and a couple of other people. If there was a way to come up with some money to pave even a path between the two courts, it would alleviate people walking through the dirt. And grass isn't gonna grow there. There's just gonna be too much foot traffic. And if it's wet, people don't always wipe their feet. And again, it's gonna go back to compromising the integrity of these courts that you spent a lot of money on, I'm sure. So even if it's a 10-foot wide path, we'd love to see that whole thing paved. Short of that, we'd like to have a path between the two courts that people could utilize.
Are these new proposals you're bringing tonight to?
There's suggestions.
Have you heard these before?
We've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked
Yeah.
about it, yeah. This is a new one, though. I don't think I mentioned this to Eric, but we were pretty staunch membership. I think last year there were over 400 paying members.
Yeah,
And I would assume that that's gonna exceed that this
increase.
year.
Yeah, I think so.
With that in mind, a lot of the members, I can't give you a percentage, maybe it's 5%, but there are a lot of members who are working. And they can't play between 8 and 12 on weekdays. I know some adjoining towns, I'll just say Dennis, for example. They set aside all their courts 2 nights a week from 4 to 7 for paying members. I think that's something that maybe you could consider in lieu of the fact that you want to give up 2 courts to the non-paying public. Maybe you could set aside 4 courts a night, 2 nights a week, or 5 nights a week would be great, but that's probably asking an awful lot. Reach for the stars, right? So maybe that's something you could consider. I think our paying members that can only play on weekends when it's the busiest would be ecstatic if they knew they could have 4 courts for paying members a couple of nights a week.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
Go ahead.
I'm almost done.
We're not gonna press.
I've given this to Eric as well. There was one of the courts that was resurfaced last year. I thought we were in the TV show The Hillbillies, because one day Steve's playing pickleball and up through the ground come a bubble of water. not crude, but water.
Yeah.
The water was, the
Yep.
courts were dry, hadn't rained for 2 days, and all of a sudden water was bubbling up through this court. So, Eric's aware of it, Jared looked at it, I think you've contacted somebody about it.
Yep.
It's something that probably needs to be addressed, because water gets into that.
Old irrigation pipe.
What's that? I think it's,
The irrigation pipe.
Wasn't there a bubbler out there?
no, it's on the court we're talking about.
On the court.
So there's a little spot where the water pops up.
Oh, really?
It
Well,
could
it's
be.
it's stopped. It's only a day or two after it rains, and then it comes out until the pressure's relieved, and then it stops. But
And I spoke to the resurfacing company, so they're gonna take a look at it. They're working with Jared.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna get a solution to that.
David, hold on.
The other, again, I'm almost done. Again, the new courts, we're happy and we're grateful that the town has used available CPC funds to build these new courts. I don't know if you've gone down and looked at them. Have you guys gone down and looked at them? And have you looked at them? You looked at them close, I'm sure. Have you seen them since they painted the lines?
No, not.
Okay, so, and this is, again, I'm just telling you this because I know people are gonna say it to me. Not that I matter, but I just want you to be aware, they've painted the lines, and if you look from one court to the second court, when they're back to back, the courts are not in line with each other. They're offset by about 1.5 feet, which is, it's aesthetic, but it's like, how did this happen? You know, how come these lines aren't in line? One court is set over to the right, one's is set off to the left, and then the other two are the same way again. It's not something that you're gonna be able to fix or pay for. The material that they use, the pavement, there are several spots that are suspect, I would say. There are pock marks, and you know, you're looking for a smooth surface when you pay for this stuff. But again, it's workmanship, and I understand you have a bid process that you have to follow, and sometimes you get what you pay for. But
Thank you, Tom.
we're certainly gonna use them. We're gonna be happy we have them. They're beautiful. The individually fenced, I mean, that really adds a lot. It's a big attraction to people to play in these courts.
Before you go on, are you ready to contact somebody about those issues?
Yeah, as far as the water coming through,
I'm talking about, but the painting and so on.
well, the painting, that, like you said, there's
Yeah, I
not
don't know
much
what
that
you
could be
can do
done
about
now if they're a little offset.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna affect the play. You said
It's just aesthetic. Yeah, it's just aesthetic, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know. So if you ever go down there and go, why didn't somebody tell us that? I told you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I think he should get a hold of the company.
I do too.
At least find out why.
So I asked them, I was down there when they were painting, I said, why is one court offset over the other? And
I
he
agree,
said,
John. We need
he
to,
said, we scratched our head for hours trying to figure out why this happened. It wasn't the painting crew, it was where they put the sleeves to put the posts in.
Well,
So
I
it goes
think
back
we-
to the construction of the court.
We still need to look
Lynch.
into it. We put out some good dollars for those
Yep, it goes back
pickleball
to,
courts, so we wanna make sure
Yeah,
they're
call
done
them in.
correctly.
Yep.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, yeah, and I think just to elaborate on that, we just want you to be aware of, this is what you paid for. So, you know, you want to know you got the good quality, even, you know, the gate, and, you know, there are some issues, and it may sound like we're nitpicking, we're not. We love, you know, having the new ones, but we felt that you should know what you're getting or what you did pay for.
I appreciate you bringing it forth to us.
the gate issue, and Eric has mentioned, he's gonna try to work on that. There are sidewalks that go on the ends of the courts.
Right.
They end at the second gate.
Right.
That gate, if you're in a wheelchair, and we do have a wheelchair player, he won't be able to use that court. Well, he could go in through the other way, but he'd have to interrupt a game. They're not ADA accessible, I guess you would say, and I don't know if that's, it has to be, but those gates, you have to walk into the dirt to go into that court. So that, maybe we could
How'd that happen?
change the hinges.
I'll find out.
Maybe change the hinges, that would probably be the
It's supposed
easiest.
to be 4 foot. Is it 4 foot?
Well, they are.
Yeah, it's just the way they open.
It's
You have to
the way
walk
the
by.
You only need one
Sidewalk's
access,
too short.
ADA, one
One
access.
access.
It's either the
Yeah.
sidewalk's too short or you hinge the gate on the other
But you
side.
did say
You
there
can-
is access.
There is access, absolutely, yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's meant.
They're covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I shouldn't have thrown the word, I'm not trying to I'm not looking at a liability issue, I'm just, again, pointing out, you know, something that we're gonna put a rug there anyway, so people can wipe their feet off. Almost done, promise you. The courts that weren't resurfaced last year, I know there was a mix-up. Is there any update on if they're gonna get
I'm
done?
meeting next week with administration.
Excellent.
Money's there. We're
Money's
just
there.
getting the semantics
Okay.
to get it done.
Perfect, good, that's good to hear, thank you. Signs, I know you're working on that, Eric, as well, especially if we're gonna dedicate 2 courts to the public. We'll need some signage to inform people how that's gonna work.
Yeah, we have the numbered signs coming, I believe, next week.
Great, we're gonna put those up.
Yeah, yep.
And I'd like to, Mr. Chairman, through you, I'd like to make one request, that the CPC sign remains.
Yep.
I put that up, by the way, just so you know, because I thought it would,
I
people
remember.
should know that.
I went down there
People
and
should
saw
know
it.
that. I think it should stay up too. I agree 100%. Yep. And lastly, I promise you, I'm wondering if the decision to dedicate 2 courts to the public during the member hours of 8 to 12 would ever be able to be discussed. I can't count how many people have come to me with concerns and questions about the dedication of 2 courts to be used by the public during the hours that members pay for.
What?
No, it's 11, hold on.
Many have suggested instituting a drop-in fee, which other towns do, and we don't have to be like everybody else. Again, I'm the middleman here. I'm trying to be the sounding board for people who are coming to me, and I'm talking to you, so I'm kind of in the middle.
So you have the big shoulders.
Well, they're not so big. They're
Don't
getting
shoot the
pretty
messenger,
big.
right?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's right. So other towns do a drop-in fee, where they pay $5. I know in Brewster, they put a box out. I know we can't collect money, but there are ways around that by putting some type of safe out or strong box.
Should I leave the room?
Why?
Because my board funded this, should I leave the room?
No.
No, just
Keyword
recuse yourself.
funded.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be more.
Just recuse, so.
So that's all. Again, I'm just in the middle. I'm bringing it to you guys, and we're going to work with whatever you present to us.
Okay.
So again, thank you for listening, for your time, and for your efforts involving all the recreational activities in the town.
Thank you, Tom, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
I'm sorry,
Fran.
if Fran could just give you a couple minutes.
Okay, I'll only take 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, before Fran starts,
Go ahead.
I don't believe we should be getting into any of
The financing.
pickleball's finances, what they have.
Yeah.
Okay, just,
Yeah, we work
it's
on
above
it.
our pay grade.
Yeah, we work on it.
Okay,
Yeah, we
because
work
I
on
had heard it first, this was gonna be a full
No.
audit of your books.
No, we're not giving that. She's
Okay.
just going to give you some
We're very,
formalities.
That's not
we're
our
very
purview.
small.
Do you want us over here? Come on, just over here, Fran.
Didn't want you to get in.
Thank you. I'll just make a few comments about nonprofit status. Last July 19th, we received information from the IRS that we received a designation as a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And this was based on a decision we had at our first new board meeting last July, and on our efforts to send an application to the IRS. Then 3 months later, on October 17th, we registered with the Massachusetts Attorney General's office as a nonprofit corporation, following their acceptance of our articles of organization. These are 2 important dates, but I just wanted to mention that a lot of actions were taken in between to get us to this point, which is still pending. We had to apply for a business certificate with the town of Harwich. We updated our bylaws during our board meeting. We created a mission statement, some of which Tom read. And we prepared articles of organization and an organizational chart for our association. Current status. While we have already received the nonprofit designation, the process of being fully operational is still ongoing. For instance, we have to wait for Massachusetts to assign us an Attorney General's number so that we can upload any documents to mass.gov, because every nonprofit has to report to the IRS and to mass.gov.
Does DOR give you any information?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay. And so we're waiting for this internet access code, and no documents are allowed to be mailed anymore to mass.gov for this type of process. And just my own observation, because we've been waiting since October already, is that I think they have quite a big backlog, so it could take time. It could take, as much as a year before we have everything operating. Sure. But according to all the instructions we've received so far, we have to operate as a nonprofit and be responsible to the requirements of the IRS and the state of Massachusetts. Benefits of nonprofit status besides what Tom already mentioned. We're now a legal entity set up for the benefit of the public pickleball community in Harwich. Our purpose is outlined in our mission statement, as we already stated, and we are also accountable to the IRS and Massachusetts authorities. That last part sounds more like a cost, which I think it really is rather than a benefit.
Everybody's got a piece.
Yeah. One very important benefit, though, is our status, is that excess revenue can be from activities, specifically the Fun Fest, which Phyllis knows quite a bit about, can be given back to nonprofit local communities, tax-free. And this is something we take a lot of pride in doing. For example, since last fall, I should say, we've made 4 donations. One to the Rec Department for children's activities to help finance some of the fees. Another one to the Harwich Children's Fund, one to the Cape Cod Foster Closet, and one to Behavioral Health Innovations in Chatham. So we're, again, we're very proud that we can make these donations, and we hope to continue that in the future as one of our main purposes. Okay, just my last comment is that how we raise funds, because this is how we raise funds. So far, our only way we raise funds is through our Fun Fest, which we hold in September. And a lot of work goes into that, as Phyllis can attest to, because she's a big part of that. And also the people, the board, and many volunteers in the community. So far, that's been the only means of funding our contributions, donations, and also the support we give to the courts and also to our website. And the only other donation, as Tom mentioned, was a small donation from 2 board members, which would help finance probably two kids to take free lessons in the future. That's it for now.
Thank you. Tom, thank you very much.
Okay,
Members of the pickleball group, thank you for coming.
Before
I'm gonna go
before
around.
they leave, can I ask a question?
He's gonna go around.
I'm gonna go around.
Before you dismiss them?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, the backwards.
We're going counterclockwise today.
Counterclockwise.
Thanks for coming. Very organized presentation. Thank you for that. Tell me a little bit about the perma-shade. Are you asking for the funds to come from CPC funds or?
For the shade?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they would.
really care.
I'm not sure where they would come from. I guess that's just a blanket request, like looking for help to put the shade, to put in shade. Again, we'll do the work.
Okay.
If we have to pay for it, we probably will. It will deplete, it will take away from us giving, to other entities or the charities. We'd like you to consider any means you might have to help us pay for it.
Okay, I see.
You're talking about the sunshades right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment on that. You can visit Dennis. They put in quite a fun shade, this thing, this way up and so forth. Barnstable, I saw pictures of it had big, but it's massive. It covers all the courts. No, not all the courts, but a large area. And, other towns have put it in. And most places that I've been down here, and of course in Florida, they have sunshades all the time.
Okay, Brian, so
And that could be taken, revolving fund quite easily.
Okay.
thank you, Frank.
You're welcome, Peg.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
You all set,
That's all I
Frank?
got for to know. Yep.
Leah?
I have a couple questions, and Eric, you might be able to answer this one,
Sure.
and you might not, and that's totally okay. As far as citizens or members for pickleball, what's the liability that we're looking at as far as installing their own items, or even installing the nets
Yeah,
and
so
such like
anything, whether it's fields, courts, we get permission through the DPW first,
that? Okay.
before anything's done by the public.
Mm-hmm.
So that they gave the okay for the
Okay.
net installation. So the same thing, if
Would
we
have
were to
to-
have to, we would
Yep.
have to get permission through them. first.
Okay, because it just feels like a can of worms.
Yeah, oh
Anybody
yeah,
can do
absolutely,
anything.
sure, yep.
I guess I have the same question on permashade, where that would come from. And then as far as the open to play courts, the nighttime courts, I mean, I would love to do the yoga class that I would love at night, but I can't because I have a full-time job. I think that leaving 2 public courts open all the time is fair. I think it's tax funded and to ask to close them at a certain period of time. I understand working full-time, you need time for leisurely activities, but what about the other people that are working full-time that want to use those courts and not be a member because it's not something that they're that, invested in, but they'd still like to go out on a, whatever night. So I personally disagree with having those courts closed to the members, at least, that whole period of time like you guys were discussing.
What time period are you referring to?
The night?
The nighttime.
I think
where
you misinterpreted what
he
he
had
said.
asked for all of the courts.
No, he said
No.
4 courts.
Like 4.
4, I'm so sorry, I
No,
thought you
no,
had said
no.
all of
I
the
saw
courts.
another town
No.
does all, but I would never. ask for
Okay,
all
that's
12
where I
courts.
was confused, another town,
Yeah.
but not here, okay, then, excuse me. But I thought you were asking,
I
I was
talk
like,
fast and I have a New Hampshire accent.
no worries, you're fine. So so the 4 is what you were
Yes.
discussing, okay, perfect, I'll change my notes.
In your mind?
Not so fast. Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, John, please.
Well, first of all, thank you for all the donations you make to the different organizations. That's very much appreciated, because everybody's tight on money right now, as we know. My first one is a question. 4 or 5 years ago, we bought a big steel grate from a manufacturer in Maine to put in the ground at the door. And I'm the one who initiated it because I had a ski house in Maine. And every house they build up there has this at the back door. They're the best thing since sliced bread. It's never been installed. I was told by somehow it'll never work. It's more of a nuisance than it is. And could you give me some back
So
input
it's,
on that?
it's still there.
I know it is.
It's
I
still there.
walked
I
there
tripped
every
over it
day.
yesterday and a few choice words came out of my mouth. It's still there. The problem, there isn't a problem. We could recess it into the
Yeah.
ground. But there are 4 different entrances to the court.
Well, that is now, yeah.
Yeah.
But how many of them come off the dirt?
Before we built the new courts, nobody really, because it's all paved
Well,
right up to
but you always hung out in the area that's in the grass. where the
Yes,
picnic
because that's where the
tables
picnic tables
And
were.
then you walked onto the courts.
Right.
That's what precipitated getting that.
Yes.
But my thing is, and you're right, 2 by 10s and sink it in with some stone.
Yeah.
And that solves your rug
There you go.
solution.
There you go. Yeah.
But is that something that we could ask Highway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that something that you're still
We
interested
recess it
in?
into the ground.
Yeah.
They walk over it, stuff falls
And
off their
their feet off.
shoes. Once in a while, we go in and, scrape it out if you have to, but to me, that would be better than, that would be okay. I mean, ultimately, it would be nice to pave it, but that's probably not gonna.
And I guess we're at the point either we get rid of it or we put it to use.
We actually
Yeah, we're
use
gonna
it,
be
we
tripping
actually
over it.
use
But
it.
we're gonna need more than that one. That one's not gonna be big enough to do the job.
Those weren't cheap, that wasn't cheap.
You're gonna need, you'd have to measure it, but you're probably gonna need like 5 more.
It was $300.
Yeah. But we actually do use it where we have our sign up
cheaper
board,
than
because
paving,
otherwise people
yeah.
would be on the
Right.
dirt,
Right.
and we do use it in a different manner.
That was just an observation.
And it
so-
it was sort of recessed, but with all the construction going on, it got moved. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
why it's up.
In regards to the open play, I for one, and I believe the majority, if not everybody on this commission, the caveat for supporting the new courts was that 2 of those courts would be dedicated as open play. There was no gray area on that.
Okay.
There was no negotiation because, and you were here, Tom, I think, the number 1 complaint I've had in over 20 years on this commission has been the lack of
Right.
program participants able to use those courts. And that was what precipitated putting 2 open courts in there, so. In my opinion, my own vote is that will never change. Okay. And you can relay that to your.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you for your being candid about it.
You made a comment of you're giving up 2 courts. That goes into the same
That was,
category.
I shouldn't have said it that way. I didn't
Okay.
mean giving up because you're giving us 2 more courts, so we're not giving up anything.
John, before you go on, having said what you said, do you think we need to have something in writing, some kind of memorandum of agreement that this is what we're going to be doing with those courts?
No, I think the decision should be made by this board.
A motion.
And that's it.
Go ahead, John.
Great. I love the idea of the perma shield, and unfortunately, a structure, just because we're dealing with a town, You know, it's easy to put the nets up, because the nets aren't gonna fall on somebody.
Right.
If we're doing that, it just goes to another level of who can do it. Not saying it can't be done, but it's not gonna be,
Us.
unfortunately, overnight.
Yeah, no,
You know, I mean, you've been in this, you've been involved with this long enough, it takes time. So I think that covers, and thank you for clarifying the reserved at night, because I put a big exclamation point there. I thought you wanted all of the courts at night.
No.
Yeah.
no.
So so it's 4 courts.
I would request 4 out of 12 for two nights a week for paying members, just like the other 10 courts from 8 to 12 in the morning. It'd be the same idea, that group would have to monitor themselves, and it would make a big difference to those.
Would that go through rec?
Yeah, we can make that happen through our office, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. You may see an increase in membership if you advertise this, or we'll put it on our website, if you agree to do it. You may see more people join, because now they know, hey, I can go play Tuesday and Thursday, and I know I'm gonna have a court. I'm not gonna have to go there and go, oh my God, I can't play.
It's kind of like the nights we did over at Sisson.
It's at 2:04,
Yeah.
exactly, that's what I was thinking. Okay, while we're on this topic, do you wanna continue, or do you want me to do what I'm thinking? Let's
Yeah,
finish
I know.
up and then.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking, good.
Okay, before I churn into the bull in the china shop, a couple of things. First of all, as far as your 501c3 is concerned, just be aware, once people understand, or those who choose to understand what your name is under that 501c3, they can access the Attorney General's office information. You're aware of that? Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, you're right about the courts, but that area between the new courts and the old courts, if you stand at the very top and you look down the line, that line's out of whack too.
It is, yeah, you're right.
So, the grill, I didn't realize there was something in the background for that. But why couldn't you use 3-inch native stone in that area? There's nothing that you folks wear are gonna pick that stone up and bring it onto the courts. It's cheap. The cost of doing the tarring would be enormous for the small area that needs to be done, especially when you get into mobilization for that small area. So it's just a thought. Now, the bull in the china shop part of it. This is now an association. This isn't, I'm confused, because this shouldn't be under recreation anymore. They're their own entity, being a 501c3.
I can clarify that for you.
Go ahead.
So their 501c3 handles their fundraising, their Fun Fest.
Okay.
That's separate from our rec program. Our rec program is our rec pickleball program.
Individuals, correct?
Yep, individuals.
Okay.
That's not a group renting the court. They
That
rent the
clarifies.
courts as a group
Right.
for the Fun Fest.
Okay.
That's where the 501c3 comes into play.
Dave, I could comment on that if you want, how it came up. We always-
No, I think it's pretty clear, yeah.
Hey, Eric just clarified the situation, Frank. The other thing is, I want to remind everybody, the taxpayers of the town of Harwich paid to have those 2 new pickleball courts put in.
4.
Four, yeah. Tennis courts, 2. Anyway, that's the way I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, that should be open to the public. There's no question that should be open to the public, because when they came before CPC, the reason my board voted for that was because they were gonna be dedicated to the general public. Just so you folks are aware of it.
Just to clarify, when he says my board, he's the chairman of CPC.
Correct.
Yeah, we don't have 2 chairs.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that.
Okay, you all set?
Got it, sir.
Can I just respond about
Go ahead,
the
John.
crushed stone in between? You know, I think for our standpoint was to, shoot for the moon.
Right.
And whatever we get below that is gonna be cool. So if it's crushed stone instead of pavement, we're gonna be happy with it, so.
Okay, let me,
Can I just go?
Sure, go ahead.
What's the downside to the stone?
It'll get kicked around, maybe get on the
Even
court.
the big ones?
But the downside is it's not just smooth pavement, so it's.
It's not, no, you're right, it's not. But
The ultimate would be pavement.
if you were to go and
Money-wise, the stone is.
do an invoice on crushed 3/8
I'm sure,
native
yeah.
and then tar,
Yeah.
it'll blow you away.
Absolutely, I'm sure it will. So again, I shot for the moon, And if we got Saturday instead, that's
Good
good.
man.
You asked the question, he gave me the answer.
That's it, that's
You all set, David?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Phyllis.
I'd like to address the stone issue. So what happens very often is you get there in the morning and the courts are covered with little stones.
We're not talking about little stones.
These would
Well,
be big
like-
stones.
3/8
Yeah,
native. I have a whole,
they're
I have 200 feet of
Okay.
driveway and I don't bring it into my house.
Okay,
It
I don't know what
works.
They wouldn't
I know
fit
what
the
you're
shed,
talking about.
yeah.
The little gray ones are all over the place.
Right, children come and actually throw the stones on the court.
Yeah, these on.
Okay, so these are bigger.
Oh, hell yeah.
You said
Stone
3
dust.
inches, you said 3 inches.
Actually, it's a piece of stone dust.
Uh-huh.
They're a little bit.
Yeah.
little
Well, they're
bit-
gravels, they're
size.
like sharp,
Yeah.
annoying gravels
Yeah, yeah.
that we're always pushing off the
You
court.
could go an
And it
inch
was
if you
said you
choose.
guys
It's up to you.
are happy
So
to be
kind of what's
sweeping and
there.
cleaning it up and for play.
I mean, let's, like
Go ahead, Phyllis.
flagstones that
Let's-
people are
let's,
giving away, I mean.
let's
you
go,
know, stuff
Phil.
like
What
that.
else you got?
Okay.
You can go all the way into the basketball court, you can come back that way.
I was here long enough to remember when we had trees there and we didn't require shade. But when July comes, it's gonna be really hot because it's totally open now. So it would be really great to have something there. That would be super. I understand the stone idea. I don't think the grass is gonna grow there. It's poorly seeded to begin with and it's never gonna get watered like it needs to get started. So anything would help.
Okay, you all
And
set?
thank you, Tom. And I also just want to say that I think Doug came for public comment.
Oh, yeah. Well, whenever. he
Yeah,
has-
I'm just, he came in late, but he came for public comment.
Frank,
Yeah,
you got anything you wanna add?
I'd say, yeah, I'm in favor of stone too, as long as we put down some kind of plastic membrane underneath so that we come up through it.
All
Would
right,
that be a highway, defer to highway on that one,
Yeah.
folks?
Yeah, I mean, Chris Nickerson gave us a kind of a off the top of that quote for concrete, he said would be 10 grand.
You can't call Chris, he's a.
I wasn't.
For stone?
Yeah, I know he's retired, I know
No,
he's
for the
retired.
concrete,
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
all right, Frank, anything else?
No.
Okay, now,
no, it's been said, I think.
John, do you wanna go to public comments and then we'll come back to John, or John, do you wanna do?
Is this public comment in regards to pickleball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want, what is, where are we here?
My name's Douglas Ramler.
Yes.
Harwich resident, a member of the paid pickleball group. I'm sorry I was late on bridge traffic. I just want to know, are we, and Eric, you had mentioned something there in reference to the town or the rec department, the pickleball courts are part of the town, correct?
Yes.
The association, which, this pickleball association, which is gonna be nonprofit, whatnot, that you guys spoke about, is its own entity. Who oversees when everybody plays? And let's say how many courts there are?
12 now.
There's
You're
12 now
talking about
with the 4
scheduling,
new
you're
ones?
talking about scheduling?
Well, yeah, so there's the 12 courts, including the new ones, so it's 12 total.
Right.
So those 2 courts, who's gonna be there to tell people to use what court? And even if you designate those 2 courts, who then polices the paying people and the non-paying people? Is it the town? It's not, these awfully nice majority, the majority of local folks who are just there to have fun and pay the same way you might pay at the public Cranberry Golf Course to play a round of golf. You can't just walk on there if you're a tax-paying citizen here. Who's to say that who's gonna patrol these people, and where's attention in July and August when all these people show up and say, I wanna be on a court and I've been waiting 45 minutes? How did you guys, who's got the answer?
The idea is to have 2 courts that we're gonna have all numbered courts.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 courts that are designated for the public, whichever ones they may be, will say open for public courts
Okay.
on the sign as well.
Okay,
So people know those are for open play.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
And then, let's say they get there at 8 in the morning
Mhm.
and there's, let's say 20 non-paying,
Yep.
for the sake of the argument, non-paying individuals. And instead of waiting and the courts aren't full, that are, let's say 11 and 12 are the open to the public, the drop-in. 11 and 12 are full, but there's more non-paying people that want to play, and 1 through 9 are open. Who's going to say, well, you can't, well, we're just going to use it until the paying members show up, and then we'll get off those courts. And then,
Well, they can use it until, you're saying if it's 8 o'clock within the time frame of the program. So within the time frame of that program, they wouldn't be able to be on those because it's reserved for a rec program.
so
It's
they
just
just
like,
have to sit and wait for those 2 courts
Yeah,
to open
they'd have
up, even
to-
though the other ones are open.
it's kind of like a baseball field. If a baseball field is reserved from 9 to 12, Brooks Park baseball field, but the teams don't show up to play their actual game till 10. It's still reserved, at 9 o'clock, so people can't come on and just play. It's reserved already for you guys. And you're saying who's going to enforce that?
I just don't want to see,
Yeah, and we're going to
older
monitor.
folks or whoever it may be,
Yeah,
have tension
Yep.
for no reason.
And
Because
when
there's nobody policing the situation.
when we do open it up, our plan is to monitor it really closely in the beginning from the office here. Luckily, we're right down the street too. So if there are issues, one of us can be there.
Okay, now, my other question is, from 8 to 12, have you guys checked in with the other towns to see, like, I know Dennis, as far as I know, because I used to, join Harwich, I used to join Dennis, blah, 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 I've got 4 boys, so we all like to play and whatnot, and they're friends, so we'd go, we'd pay for all the places and go. At Dennis, when I belonged, I don't now, all the courts were only at a certain time period at Wixon for just the paying members. And there was no question about it, as a matter of fact, that you had this little card and, you showed it to them. And I said, oh, well, my one son just got home from college, he didn't pay, nope, you gotta wait until after 12. Okay, no problem. And they said, you can come before 8, you can come after 12. So I'm just wondering, is your idea, or your guys' idea, is this something you found from another town that works? Because I think Brewster does a $5 drop-in and more money for you guys, None of this for me is about the money. It's just a lot of the logistics and, if you pay for something,
And
like you said, reserve a baseball field. Or my kids for a birthday party, we reserved the middle school ones, we paid the town, and we had all the kids show up and blah, 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 and it was fun.
Eric, have you had any issues with this up to the?
with drop-in type
Whatever,
stuff?
what is.
Not as of yet.
Okay.
The thing with drop-ins is if you were to do drop-ins, you'd have to have somebody there from rec staff to collect the money.
Now, is that
You
because
couldn't
of
have-
something in the bylaws, or could
Well,
it
we
be?
can't have somebody that's not a staff member collecting money. for
And
the
what
town.
about somebody from the nonprofit organization?
Well, see, you wouldn't be
A
under
daily
that,
monitor.
you wouldn't be
Under
under that umbrella.
at that time.
While you're playing from 8 to 12, it's not the pickleball organization that's playing, it's individuals that signed up for the rec pickleball program.
Okay.
The organization that you have, the 501c3, is for the benefit of yourselves when you book our courts for a special event,
Right.
the Fun Fest. That allows you, to book it as a nonprofit.
Okay,
So that's that's what I mean when I say it's 2 separate things.
gotcha. So when you added on these 4 courts, 10, 11, or 11, 12, 13, 14, you were basically saying that the paying group is up to 12.
Paying group is up to 10.
10.
Up to 10, oh, there's
Yeah.
12 total.
12
Up
total,
to
yeah,
10.
yep.
And then 11 and 12 are just these random courts, they happen to be in the same fences
For open play.
for open play.
Yep.
I can see that.
So,
Hey,
I'd like to just, if I could elaborate
ahead,
on that, and we've kind of talked about it, because obviously we're the front line, we've been there, people come, and, some of them are frustrated and that they can't play, but there's not a court on Cape that I know of that is doing this, and maybe we're the innovators, I don't know, but, so I thought the answer could be that if people show up and they want to play, they can practically walk here and they can pay here, give them a receipt, they come back, and that's their drop-in. I mean, they pay $35 a day to park at the beach for one day. If you did a week pass, you guys will make a killing in the summer. I mean,
I think the majority of pickleball players don't care about that.
All right, I wanna see if we can expedite this week. We've got a long agenda.
Just a quick response
Go
to
ahead.
that. If you're a taxpayer in this town, you should be able to go to that pickleball court
Absolutely.
and play just as easily as you people can. I'm sorry, you don't, no, the tennis group hasn't taken over the tennis courts for 4 hours a day, every day. And like I said earlier, the #1 biggest complaint from tax-paying, year-round residents in this town has been that they've gone there and
They
they've
get
been
shut
told,
out.
some of them rudely been told to go away. This is our time. So that's why we're pushing this. I'll make no bones about it. The 2 open courts are because of that attitude and the reaction that those people have had.
But anyone can become a member if they're taxpaying.
They don't wanna become a member, they just wanna go down and play anytime they want.
They want
That's their
optional,
right.
open play anytime they want. You can't have
That's
that.
their right.
You've gotta have these things reserved, you gotta have a schedule, you gotta have a comprehensive approach to having our people in town use those pickleball courts.
So are you thinking so what happens if the 2 court, now you're getting complaints that they can't even get on the 2 courts? Do you envision making it 4 courts open to the public?
I don't,
No.
Or 8, or?
Mr. Chair, I was told today by somebody who's intimately involved in pickleball that there's never that many to fill. Somebody mentioned earlier about too many people waiting.
right.
If they have to wait, they have to wait. That's the way it is. This gentleman mentioned that his son comes home from college. Well, I think the open courts is the perfect solution for that. Because your son, you could go play on the open court, and I'm sure your son just joins, pays the fee, correct?
Right.
Yeah. We're done.
Okay.
So when, I have a
I'm
question.
gonna have 1 or 2 more, and then we've got a motion that we want to put on the floor. Fellas?
When you had children's tennis lessons, were there still open courts?
No,
And that was a rec program for children?
that's 4 courts,
Right. but I'm
not
just-
12, yeah. Well,
It's not, tennis happens to take up more space than pickleball.
yeah, I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
4 courts as opposed to 12.
Understand that argument.
No, I asked a question,
The reason the
David.
courts got built
Right.
was because the CPC made a recommendation in town meeting. In the application, it was understood and it was stated by the folks that wanted those courts in front of the CPC board that those courts would be open. Town meeting agreed with that. So there is no more discussion about whether or not those courts can be used by being open or not open. They are open. Now, if you want to come forward with an article for town meeting on your own auspices of what you want to do so. But as it stands now,
Okay, I just asked a question.
no, it's more than what you're asking.
No,
I understood
All
exactly
right,
what you
David.
said.
Okay.
I said,
Let's,
I'm done.
Frank, you got something?
Well, I gotta say, when I proposed that CPC article, and I proposed it saying that we could better accommodate visitors and non-residents. That was the proposal, that's all. So we can we accommodate them now, by the way. And it gets hairy around 4th of July week and stuff like that, but with 12 courts, I see no problem whatsoever.
John?
I have one
more thing.
Go ahead.
If in the open courts, if there's nobody on the open courts,
it's a moot point.
Anybody can play. Nobody's there.
Yeah.
That's right.
We have a board day. You put four names go, and they go out. The next 4 go out, and you cross off that box, and people from the other box go out. And the game only lasts 11 or 12 minutes, so someone's sitting there. They're not going to be sitting there that long.
Okay, thank you, Frank. John, you got a motion?
Mr. Chair, quick question for the director, because I'm gonna make a motion.
Sure.
What is your recommendation on which courts become open?
I don't know what the pickleball group was thinking, but I was thinking that the 2 of the newer courts would make the most sense because it's gated off. So it's separated from the rest. But, I'm open for discussion on that too.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion,
Wait,
please.
Frank, hold on. Frank?
We can do it during discussion.
Okay.
Well, if you're looking for a motion, I would make a motion.
We
that
don't
you-
have a motion yet, Frank. Hold on, John.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna make a motion that 2 of the new pickleball courts, I'm assuming we'll call them 11 and 12, which would be the furthest down towards the backwoods, be adopted and posted as open courts. That's my motion.
Is there a second to that? Motion made by John Mahan, second by Dave Nixon. Further discussion?
Sure.
Not yet,
No,
please.
no, this is the board's-
No, this
this
is
is
the
the
board's,
board's.
I'm sorry.
this is the board's issue here.
Oh, so you have the-
Discussion, please. Phyllis?
So the farthest courts are the least accessible courts as far as getting to them. It's farthest from the parking. I think it's just harder to, for us as people who are participating in Harwich Recreation Pickleball, instead of saying, yeah, you play on those 2 courts, now they're gonna be crossing I mean, it's just logistically kind of
They're gonna be
doesn't work.
crossing what?
They're gonna be, I was picturing this as 2 courts that are the most accessible courts to the parking.
That happen to be the oldest.
They're really
So
nice.
somebody.
They
So
were
what were you saying,
repainted.
Phyllis, they're gonna cross, that's where I.
No, I'm just saying, they're gonna, okay, so we get there at 7:30 in the morning, the parking's all full, okay? And then the farther parking is full, and then the public is gonna be walking to the farthest courts of all to play. I just don't see it as the best option, honestly,
Is this
the way I
miles?
look at it.
I'm picturing, I don't feel like it's that far
No, I don't
of
either.
a walk.
Yeah.
And
Good
when you
exercise,
said- When you
Phyllis.
said they're crossing,
Little
are they
extra- little
interrupting
warm-up time.
games?
Well, because I think that it's not our job to police the 2 courts, right?
Nope.
Right?
Yep.
But that's gonna be what happens.
Why?
Because what happened, okay, in the summer, a lot of people come that are not, they just play with them amongst themselves. Like, I think it was a pandemic thing, that they just started playing amongst their family. So they show up with 5 or 6 people, they've got coolers and coffee cups and stuff, and they just park themselves on the court with all their stuff, and they think they're gonna stay there for an hour and a half. And you're gonna do 4 on, 4 off, right? You're gonna have a sign that says that.
Yeah.
Right? And these people are gonna be the least accessible place, parking themselves with all their stuff. This is just what happens in the summer. If you're not there to observe it, you don't see it. And then other people show up because unfortunately, pickleball is way more popular than when I started. And we'll have 8 courts full in the winter. So I don't know what the summer's gonna bring us. I just see it as not as workable. I don't care which courts we play on, honestly. I don't see the new courts as that great of a benefit because we do have barriers now that they built, but.
Is that not a positive?
Yeah, it's a natural separation from your group.
For the 2 courts are totally separated now from the other ones.
So the
versus
others
going
are-
in and having to walk through a court.
No, you don't have to walk through any courts. No, you don't.
I don't know what number they are.
Well, okay, you do have to, okay, we have the 2 courts closest to the tennis courts. These are the closest to the tennis courts, okay? There's a gate here, there's a gate here, and there's these plastic barriers here for the balls that go through. So if these 2 courts or these 2 courts were for the public courts, it would be easy to access. This is by the basketball court, you know, how you come in over the basketball court, and this is by the parking lot.
But you are still, correct me if I'm wrong, please, you're still walking through the first court to get to the second.
So these 2, yes. So
Whereas
everyone over
on
here.
10 and 11 and 12, there is none of that. They're separate, dedicated 2 courts. That's. You're not
Okay,
walking
no,
through a court to get to a court,
That's-
correct?
We're getting down a
I
little
mean,
minutia
you're-
here. Let's,
There's a motion.
yeah,
Real
there's a
quick.
motion on the floor here.
Under
Let's keep it
discussion,
going
real
under
quick.
discussion, please.
Real quick,
Phyllis still has
I
the
hear
floor.
you.
Thank
I
you,
understand.
thank you.
You have one large intimidating son of a bitch sitting next to you. You have a cell phone number. If you find truly in your heart of hearts that you're having that type of issue, he'd be there in a heartbeat to straighten the situation.
He'll be being called. That's what I'm trying to save him from.
And we'll revisit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the motion on the table tonight
Right.
is what it is.
Okay,
And if it
any
doesn't
other
work,
further
we'll
discussion? Brian, you
what-
wanna have any discussion on the motion?
No discussion.
Wait, yeah, I back.
Hold on,
also-
please.
Okay.
Phyllis, you,
Leah.
Leah? Thank you.
No discussion.
Okay. Anybody else? Frank?
Right.
Yeah, I'm in favor of, just what Phyllis said, I would endorse the 2 courts closest to the tennis courts. It makes sense, it's closer to the parking lot and everything. And the tourists come and put everything on the courts too.
This isn't all about tourists.
I didn't hear that.
But that's the majority of,
Every complaint I got, like I said earlier, was a resident year-round person. It was never a
Never,
tourist.
exactly.
I can only tell you what I know.
There's so many residents, because I'm up there a lot, John, and I never turn a resident away. I mean.
I don't think these people are lying to me, and I don't think you're lying to me, Frank, but
Okay,
I'm not the
all right.
only one.
Just a difference
My,
of
my
opinion.
first, when they come up there, I say, sure, play, why don't you join it? 99% of them do.
That if everybody joins, then the open courts won't be an issue.
Why don't we move on the
We need to
motion,
vote on this
please?
issue. It's on the floor.
From 11 and 12, and if we have a problem with 11 and 12, we'll revisit it if we have to, and come to some other solution or compromise in terms of where we can set these 2 new courts aside for that purpose. But
Do
for
we have
now, there's a
public
motion
opinion?
on the floor.
Do we have public opinion on?
No,
on
you
your-
No, this is the
No.
board.
Oh,
I just want to say that the courts are not officially numbered, so if you say 11 and 12,
I would
that's
say, I would
meaningless. We can call anything
describe
11
the
and
courts,
12.
you mean,
Yeah.
because nothing's numbered yet.
I apologize.
And when the registered players get there in the morning, those courts will be empty, so they'll play on them until visitors come or.
Or we can play
someone
on
else.
them too.
Anybody can
It's
play.
an open
But
court.
I don't care about
So,
playing
Mr.
on them or
Go
another
ahead,
court. I'm
hold
just
on,
saying
hold
what's
on,
gonna work
please.
better.
I-
That's,
Hold on, Phyllis, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Will you rescind your motion, please? I'm gonna redo mine.
I'm gonna rescind my motion.
Okay.
I rescind my second.
Okay, that's right. I'm gonna change my motion that the 2 furthest east courts, the 2 furthest east new pickleball courts will be dedicated and posted as open courts.
Second.
Second on that. I'm not going to allow any further discussion, and I think we've discussed this to no end. Let's take a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
You gotta take it one by one.
No, because we have.
Oh, we
Yeah,
have a
Frank.
phone.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
That's all right.
Brian?
Aye.
Phyllis?
no.
Aye.
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 Okay, passes.
Frank, you gotta get Frank.
Frank?
Hey,
Nay.
So 4-2.
4-2. Okay. I think we've done enough with pickleball for tonight, don't you? You folks all set?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Pickleball, enjoy yourself. Summer's here. Have fun.
Thanks, Phyllis.
Each best.
Come on out, shout out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug's son.
All right, guys, here we go. Miscellaneous correspondence.
What was that?
When are those signs?
They should be in next week, the new signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already
am I
ordered.
allowed to ask
No,
anything?
not at this point.
No.
No, that
No.
issue is done. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, okay. All right. So
You
even,
can ask for an agended item
Next time.
Or,
Next time.
Yeah.
or call me tomorrow if you want.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could talk, or come in. Yeah,
All
I'll be here
right.
tomorrow.
I just thought Phyllis knows the day-to-day.
Yeah,
And so she's kind of your liaison, you know, the
okay.
Yeah.
ongoing.
Work with Eric.
Thank you, Doug.
We'll get this going.
Okay, yeah, I'll be here.
All right,
Yeah.
just for logistics stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Next item is a senior softball request.
This one can kind of be passed over, just because there's a new way of doing things with fee reductions or waivers. Every year, this has come to us as a common fee reduction for the classic tournament. But now, the way it's being done is any fee waivers or reductions, I make a recommendation on to the town administrator. He makes the call. If he feels it should go to the Board of Selectmen, then it or the Select Board, then it does. So it's no longer a Recreation Commission decision to make a waiver.
Item 4 is a moot issue. We'll move on.
Is there a
Okay.
form for this that they submit to you?
For a fee waiver or reduction?
To submit to you first?
So if they're a nonprofit organization, they can check that off on the form, and then they have to send an actual request, like this one that we have here, to me.
So just a written.
Yeah, written request.
All
yeah.
set? Okay, let's go on to new business volleyball and Bank Street Beach, please.
Yep.
Can we,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
can we just circle back to the old business for really quick?
Sure.
I know we're not talking about it, but can you just bring up the next meeting idea, like, so that's on record?
Oh, for splash pad. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
skipped.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So the splash pad. I am meeting with someone from Green Acres next Friday. He's going to look. He's trying to find a time that he could come and meet with you guys as well. We're going to meet about the different spots in town and see what he thinks is the best spot.
Great.
But he also is willing to meet with the commission. He's just trying to find a time. So if I were to get, if he says May 10th, could we have an alternate commission
We
meeting?
can have a special meeting.
Yeah,
Why, just curious, why can't we meet with him the same day you're meeting?
I could
Kill two
ask
birds
him.
with one stone.
I could ask him, but I don't know if he's available at night.
Some of us
You know,
have
like
to
a
work
5:30. 'cause-
during the day, sir.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that was just
So
a,
But I'll ask what he,
Fans will
I'll
lose
see
time.
what else he has available too.
Okay.
for me to 5 minutes before work.
Okay.
And there is there's a
I've
huge
been on the
info
phone with you at
packet.
7, no problem.
There's a huge info packet. I didn't print it. It's that big. So
They can't mail you one?
it's on I put the website in that
Yeah.
email. So check it out because it's all on there.
Because it's awesome.
It's got everything.
Well,
So
it's got a lot of color.
yeah, it does have a lot of color.
That's
So
because they're
Okay,
hiding
we all
things
set
they don't
with
want
that
you to
item?
know.
yes,
That's what I learned
am.
in accounting.
All right, gentlemen, ladies, new business,
Make it
volleyball,
pretty
Bank
so you
Street.
don't see the stuff.
Okay, this one is from Rich McCampbell. He wants to, and this is the original email, and he met with me in person too. I'd very much like to set up the used Harwich Community Center volleyball nets. It's the old net that we got rid of. As given to me, the setup would be as follows. At Bank Street Beach, about 100 feet south of the bathrooms in the flat area east of the boardwalk, there is a picture that he provided as well.
There used to
This
be
is
a
the
net
little
there.
dots.
Was there one there?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'd manually dig 2 4-foot deep post holes. That would have to be checked with DPW as well before somebody starts digging holes on the beach. I'd add 2 4x4x12 pine wood non-pressure treated poles. I could add polyurethane to the poles or paint them white or sand color or gray or whatever color looks best. This is where people, including me, have set up temporary volleyball nets in the past. So he wants to put one up there, the poles up more permanently. The net would only go up when they're playing.
What's Davey say?
What I haven't messaged into him yet. I haven't heard yet. That was my first thing is beach cleaning. I'm not as worried about like the patrons on the beach because that's a pretty offset area.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to have as another recreational opportunity at the beach. But I'm going to wait to hear from Highway as well.
I guess I have the same question. Oh, sorry, you had your hand up first.
Go ahead.
Has anybody contacted conservation? The
It's-
minute they see,
You got it now.
the minute they see that,
It's a variance of 50 feet. That's more than 50 feet
Yeah, there's,
from the high
Well,
water
it's
line. I
100
just did the
feet.
kayak rack, so that was one of, yeah,
yeah,
it is hot.
That has to be
there.
100 feet.
sorry.
Yeah, we've had volleyball at the beach before.
That's pretty far.
And we've done it at Red River, which
I
is
know
even
why
closer to the water.
Red River has more parking and more accessible of it, but anyway.
And I did inform him that, if people wanted to come play volleyball, they still have to have their beach sticker. They can't just come to play volleyball.
I
But
just
I
have a
thought he
quick
said-
question.
Yeah.
If this man's putting the sweat equity in, we'll call
Yep.
it, is then he going to be expecting in return a specific time? to-
Nope.
Okay.
Nope,
just
I already,
happy-
I made sure
awesome.
he knew that too.
they
Love
charging a
that.
fee for this?
It'd be for anyone
Yeah.
to use.
Love that.
There
But he
was
was
one
said he
at
would
Red
take the
River
net
on
down
the
when he
Yeah.
wasn't
side of the
using
cement
it.
barrier at one point.
But he said he'd take the net down when he wasn't using it, didn't he?
Well, yeah, and the idea is, he said we could take
So
the
you can
net
bring your own
down or
net.
leave it up. Or we could keep the net right in the storage,
Mm.
right there too.
Is that something the lifeguards could hang each day or the gate people
Yeah,
or something?
that's not a huge deal. It
That's what
takes
I
2
mean.
seconds to put one of those up.
Yeah, especially if it's one of the hook ones.
But I think our first hurdle is what DPW ends up saying.
Yeah.
Okay, you wanna come back later on, next month, let us know if there's.
Yep. I'll give you an update.
Approval of minutes, we have to do them one by one, guys. We can't do them as a group.
And you have to get each vote by yourself.
I don't think
Here
I
we
was
go.
here for the majority
Let's
of
go through this,
them.
please.
Yeah, so just so you know, real quick, Brian was asking, he wasn't here for some of these.
Yeah.
We checked, and the way it works is as long as you're provided the minutes to review, you
Okay.
can vote on them.
Right.
Okay.
Even though you weren't
Yeah.
present?
Interesting.
It is interesting. I did a double take and I clarified a couple times on that one. You don't have to be at the meeting where the minutes took place, but if you were provided the minutes to review, you're voting that you reviewed the minutes provided.
Okay.
But you have no.
But if you're not comfortable, you could, obviously
Abstain,
abstain.
abstain,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable
You
voting
don't
on
feel
something.
That's fine, yeah, it's totally up to you.
Unfortunately, I was at every one of these.
All right, let's start off with February 27th. I need a motion of 2020.
Motion,
Second.
All those in favor?
we have to
Aye.
go individually.
Let's go.
Aye.
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 Frank,
Aye.
March 26, 2024.
Motion,
Second.
aye.
Aye.
John? Phyllis?
Aye.
Aye.
This is where I like the
Frank?
video, because I don't have to write everything down.
Go aye, Frank?
Aye. Aye. Yes.
Okay, January 3rd, 2023.
Motion,
Second.
aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, I'm not comfortable, I never.
Abstain. Frank?
Aye.
Was he on
Okay. January 24, 2023,
that? What did we just, which one did we?
January
the
3rd.
3rd.
January 3rd.
He can,
Was Frank on that one?
it doesn't matter, if he was provided the
Aye.
minutes, he can
Yeah.
vote or not vote. Yeah.
January
We just
20,
went through this.
January 24th, please.
Motion,
Motion, second.
Second.
Vote,
aye.
John,
Oh, sorry.
Leah, John,
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Frank,
Aye.
August 8th, 2023.
Motion,
Second.
Leah,
aye.
John, aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Frank,
Aye.
August 23rd, 2023.
Motion,
Aye.
second,
Leah,
aye.
John,
It's like
John,
someone
aye.
says.
Aye.
Phyllis,
Abstain.
Abstain.
Frank,
Same.
okay.
Aye.
September 26th, 2023.
Motion,
Aye.
second,
Leah,
aye.
Little levity.
John, aye.
Aye.
Aye, I was there.
Abstain.
Frank.
Aye.
All right, thank you, ladies and
Good one to go
gentlemen.
back and watch.
Okay, number 6, recreation and maintenance reports. Director.
All right, I'll give you some updates here. Bank Street Beach mobile food vendor bid. We did formally have to reject the bid, the one bid that came in. It was from Juju Smoothies, and it was very similar to ice cream related products. The assistant town administrator recommended that I contact Juju Smoothies and see if they have alternate menu. Most of their menu is smoothies. And then she suggested I contact the ice cream vendor that is currently under contract and see if they have any issues with it.
Is it Good
They do
Times?
have an issue. No, it's Winterbottom ice cream.
Oh, well, yeah.
And they do have an issue with it. So we had to unfortunately reject that bid. So that was our one bid for Bank Street. But that's one more bid than we had last year, so we're moving in the right direction.
What is the buy-in for that?
1,500, well, the minimum bid is 1,500 a year, 3-year contract. They bid $1,520 a year. So, that's that.
And they offer years, or what, yearly, right?
Yeah, it's not all in advance.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
it's each year. Yep. MyRec, we're really moving along on MyRec now. John is getting acquainted with it as well. We have a lot of programs on there. Registrations and accounts are happening. I met with the finance team last week. Yeah, last week. And they had some questions. We answered all their questions. We're just waiting for them to finalize the last of the work to get the payments done.
Okay.
But everything's on there for
Were we on a
registration.
maintenance report?
Directors first.
Director's report.
The kayak racks. Oh,
Check your
sorry.
medication.
The kayak rack storage program, that is a go. The select board approved that, so our pilot program is a go. We're having it at Cahoons and Sand Pond. We're gonna start with two racks that'll hold 6 kayaks each. It's going to be a $100 fee from May 15th to October 15th. They have to provide their own locking mechanism.
Is the tech building them still?
No, the tech is not, DPW is building them for us. So the tech, the wait list was forever. DPW can build them in a day, they said.
Great.
So they'll have them done by May 15th. They're gonna cost about $250 in parts each, which is a lot less than buying them on Amazon.
Quick question, are
Sure.
you doing first come, first serve on these?
It's first come, first serve for town residents. You have to have a Harwich address.
Right,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
perfect. If you see you're having a much larger
We could
response.
expand. Yep.
Right, obviously,
Yep.
and then would you continue it as first? I just know other times they're doing the lottery.
Lottery,
because
so
it
yeah.
becomes so big.
We kind of want to get a feel for it and
Right.
see what
For
we're
the
looking at,
summer
and then if
yeah.
we do see it, blow up and we expand to 6 racks, 8
Right.
racks.
I know Wellfleet had 800.
Yes.
This
So
year.
yep, and that's who
and
we.
they don't have 800 racks, so it's a lottery system, and
Yep.
you get it, you don't, you don't.
So that could be what we move to.
Yeah.
If it's deemed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's who we modeled this program after is
Yeah.
Wellfleets. Yep.
I have a question, the
Sure.
fee, how'd you come up with the fee?
What's that? That was the common, Wellfleet was charging 100 for the same time period. The only other fee that was comparable was Brewster. They were charging $25, which I thought was way too low for, I
I
don't know.
believe Yarmouth has them too, and they're around 75,
Yeah.
80.
Yeah.
They're- Right,
And so,
exactly.
when you have a place like Sand Pond.
Yep.
I mean, that's like, I'm a kayaker, I wouldn't even bother going to Sand Pond, it's like,
Oh,
there's.
really?
That was the first
I know,
request we
yeah.
had for
Really?
Sand
Okay,
Pond.
Yeah,
David?
absolutely. We
I mean, I'd go to
kayak
Herring
on,
River
please.
or,
David?
Yeah,
This is just freshwater kayaks we're talking about?
Yes.
yeah.
Not saltwater.
well, I,
No.
Saltwater kayaks are.
well, there's
completely
Cittapon, there's City and Cittapon, but yeah, but I
Are you
mean, they're
talking
not really
size-wise?
saltwater.
Yeah,
Size.
I-
Saltwater kayaks, the ones I've seen are enormous.
Yeah, no.
Compared to a freshwater kayak.
Well,
Yeah.
they're, I think it's the way you sit in it, it's not so, you can use them in either place.
Some can be bigger. It depends.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
heavier, they're different.
I used to
But-
row, so I'm,
Oh,
whatever.
well, anyway,
I think that if you have
I use my freshwater kayak in the saltwater.
some sort of regulation on size wise.
Yeah, it's in
I
the.
don't wanna get wet.
Yeah, it's in
They're
there.
securing it though themselves.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
being in the inside.
It also includes a liability form,
Yep.
in case people are injured when they're securing or lifting their own kayak, if their kayak is stolen, if the lock is cut. It's all included in the liability form that was vetted by the lawyers.
Yeah.
All right,
I
Eric,
do.
keep it going.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Yep,
I'm
sorry.
one more.
I wear
go ahead,
sure.
Are you doing signs?
That's
Signs
the one
for
question that should be asked of
if
us.
you're leaving your
Yeah.
kayak, like if you're
Well,
not
it's
Oh,
using
so
it,
yeah.
or if
From May,
you're
from
using it
September
without
15th to May
pass,
15th.
or.
So, yeah, if
But-
you, that's all in the packet as well. There is penalty, you mean if somebody uses a
So I'm saying
slip?
like at San Pond, is there gonna be a sign that says like if your kayak is unattended, it's gone? Or
Yeah.
if you use this
Yeah, we're gonna put
without
signs
this
up that
pass,
say that,
and
yeah.
we're taking it.
Yep.
You use the rack.
And we're also gonna have, so that at Sand Pond, if you go down there, there's like, I don't know, 15 kayaks sitting
Yep.
across the woods. We're gonna sticker those.
Good.
Saying, please remove these within this span of time.
Yep.
If not, it will be confiscated.
Okay.
And you'd have to pay a
Fee to get it
storage
back.
fee
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
a fee to get it back.
And you'll have one on the rack that says if you're using this without a pass.
Yeah, oh yeah,
done.
it's, yep,
Okay,
yep, yep.
perfect.
Spring, I'm just seeing where else I have notes. You could obviously ask on
We did the
anything.
pickleball already, go ahead.
Yep.
Can I just ask about the course, about the retention pond? Is
Okay,
that part of
sure.
what you're gonna talk about?
Well, it's under, yeah, I mean, Brooks pickleball expansion, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I can see basketballs going in there very often. Are they gonna put any fencing around
could
there?
find out.
You know, because, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but there's a big retention pond now, and
Sorry.
I think
Retention
it's.
basin,
Yeah,
like
whatever
they,
you,
Full of
yeah,
stone, like the one out here?
yeah,
yeah, but I could see basketballs in there
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time.
Cause there's no fence in there.
No,
no, it's just, it's
just
the
open.
dip. So I could
Yeah.
find out if they could put a fence there.
Right, something there,
Yeah,
because
pickleball.
a lot of times it's all sorts of people out there playing basketball.
I'll find out.
Splash pad, so you can roam around.
Yeah.
There you go. Love
I
it.
have sprinklers I can loan people.
For senior softball field restroom
Not the
project, I am
Senior
meeting.
softball field?
Come, guys,
Senior softball field restroom project. I am meeting with the septic design company about locations next Wednesday. So anybody that wants to be there, like location, exactly where we want the bathroom and where the septic will
bathroom, I
be.
thought you were talking the septic. Usually the engineer determines where you put the septic.
Yeah, but he wants to
Based
know
on the
what,
perk test.
yeah, he just wants to get an idea of it, so I'm meeting
By the
him
way, we
down.
got hosed.
Did we?
I just had one the other day for client 25.
Really? Yeah. So that's the plan. That's next Wednesday, May 8th at 8:30
I'm
a.m.
feeling patriotic.
Town meeting, we have 3 projects. I believe they're number 25, 34, and 36 in the warrant this year. So hopefully that falls all on the first night.
You're the eternal.
And that's next Monday, Tuesday, and they have Wednesday scheduled. And
They
hopefully we
have
don't
a
go
town
there.
meeting on a Saturday one, so I imagine.
They had an
that-
outdoor one on a
Yes,
Saturday.
at the high
At
during
the
school.
high
COVID.
school, at the,
It was the greatest
yeah,
town
I
meeting
know.
ever. But I love the Saturday.
Yeah.
Why
Go
can't,
Saturday.
Talked about that.
why
Yeah,
can't they
that's
voted
been
it
bounced
down?
around
They
for a long
really,
time.
it's wild not to do it.
And that's all the extra notes I had, and obviously I'll answer any additional
All
questions.
right, let's go to property maintenance report. Anything on that?
The only thing I had to update on that was O'Brien and Sons, who's gonna be repairing the playground equipment, also has a fencing division. So I'm meeting with them. The guy gets back from vacation tomorrow. I'm meeting with them next week as well about all our little fence things in town. White House Field, the playground, over at Senior Memorial. So they seem like they're pretty responsive.
I'm wondering if there's just a way, and I have no idea because I know nothing about fencing. It feels like every year it's fixed, and then every year
Somebody tears
the
it.
holes are there, and the kids are going down the hill and up and down the hill.
Yeah, a way to stop it.
Maybe just a gate to the hill.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're afraid
well, that's
that'll
true.
encourage people to go
Exactly.
down. Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a way they can just, I don't know, like some way to reinforce so that.
I could
I
ask
just feel
if
like
they
have
we're spending.
barbed wire.
Yeah.
Electric
Yeah,
fence.
no, I just feel like we're spending the same
I know,
over and
Is
over.
the hole in the
Listen,
same spot?
There's 3 right now.
basically,
And
the
they're
same
just-
spots.
It's just the top pulled down so that you can like slide through.
So it's not the bottom
Which
up, it's
actually
top
really
down.
bothers me that kids aren't
Top
just
down,
hopping
yeah.
the fence anymore. Like how lazy are
Go
we?
through it, I know.
Just hop it.
Yeah.
Just
So
saying, if it was bottom up, you could do it the same way you handle.
I'll ask them when I meet with them.
In your yard,
right.
you just dig deep.
Yep, but no, it's top
Yeah, it's the top.
pulled down.
It always pulls
So,
down, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll find out if there's maybe a more reinforced.
There might
Put a
not
bar
be.
Is there no bar?
No, there
There's a
is.
bar, but
There
they
is.
pull it off,
You can always
and then
put
they
a
pull
razor
down.
It's almost like if you hang on the, like if you had a little kid that used to hang on the drawers, the drawer falls
It just
off.
sags and eventually
Okay.
comes down.
Yeah.
That was my update on
Budget report.
Done.
flying. Budget report, you see the revolving fund balance is currently 84,557
That's healthy.
and 93 cents.
But a lot of that's gonna be going out. this
Yeah,
year.
with summer starting,
Right.
this is where you start to see a dip because we're paying all our camp counselors, playground director, all of that. So
All right.
there's a natural ebb and flow to that.
Yeah.
CPC, anything?
No, just Monday, the man's showing up to make his speech.
Okay.
So-
Facilities, nothing. Moving on, open session. All right,
Nothing.
Phyllis? David?
Hockey.
Can I make a motion?
Oh, I thought you wanted a hockey program.
Okay, John? Leah?
Nope.
I have nothing. Motion to adjourn?
Frank?
Second.
Frank?
Nothing, no.
Thank you. Go ahead,
Enjoy the
Rabia.